The Assassination of Julius Caesar, Betrayal in the Roman Senate. On March 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, walked into a Senate meeting believing he was there for ordinary state business. He never left the building alive. Within minutes, he was stabbed 23 times by a group of Roman senators, several of whom he had personally forgiven, promoted, and trusted as close allies. His death didn't restore the Roman Republic his killers claimed to be saving. Instead, it triggered over a decade of civil war that destroyed the Republic entirely and gave rise to the Roman Empire. By 44 BC, Caesar had spent years consolidating power no single Roman had ever held before. Following his victory in a civil war against his rival Pompey, Caesar had been declared dictator, a role originally meant only for temporary emergencies. In February of 44 BC, weeks before his death, Caesar accepted the title of Dictator Perpetuo, dictator in perpetuity, a permanent grant of supreme authority many senators viewed as a final abandonment of the Republic's core principle, that no single individual should hold unchecked power indefinitely. This decision is widely considered by historians to have triggered the conspiracy against him. A group of senators, estimated at as many as 60, began meeting secretly to plan his assassination, believing removing him would restore the Republic and prevent Rome from becoming a monarchy in all but name. The conspiracy was led primarily by Gaius Cassius Longinus, an experienced commander with personal grievances against Caesar, and Marcus Junius Brutus, whose family had a documented ancestral history connected to overthrowing Rome's last king centuries earlier, a heritage the conspirators invoked to position themselves as defenders of liberty rather than murderers. What makes Brutus's involvement especially significant is his close personal relationship with Caesar. Ancient historians describe genuine fondness between them, with some sources even suggesting rumors, never confirmed, that Caesar had a romantic relationship with Brutus's mother years earlier, fueling speculation Brutus might even be Caesar's biological son, though modern historians consider this unlikely given the age gap. Regardless, Caesar had shown Brutus consistent favor, forgiving him for supporting Pompey and later appointing him to significant positions, making his participation one of history's starkest examples of personal betrayal colliding with political conviction. On the morning of March 15th, Caesar reportedly received multiple warnings, including an account from Suetonius describing a soothsayer who had specifically warned him to beware the Ides of March. According to later, more dramatized accounts, Caesar encountered this same soothsayer that morning and remarked that Ides had arrived without incident, only for the soothsayer to reply the day had arrived, but had not yet passed. Whether this exact exchange occurred remains debated, but multiple sources agree Caesar dismissed several warnings before proceeding to the Senate as planned. Inside the Senate, meeting at the Theatre of Pompey since the traditional Senate house was under renovation, Caesar was approached by senators under the pretense of a petition. As he reviewed the document, conspirator Tullius Cimber grabbed his toga, pulling it from his shoulders as the prearranged signal to attack. Publius Servilius Casca struck first, wounding Caesar's neck or upper chest, and the remaining conspirators surged forward, each reportedly stabbing him to ensure collective responsibility, a deliberate strategy preventing Roman authorities from singling out one assassin, since all were now equally implicated. Ancient historians recorded Caesar initially tried to defend himself with a stylus, a pointed writing implement, but was quickly overwhelmed. According to Suetonius, upon seeing Brutus among his attackers, Caesar stopped resisting, uttering words immortalized in various forms, whether the famous "et tu, Brute," popularized centuries later by Shakespeare, or a different Greek phrase recorded by ancient historians, remains disputed, with modern scholars questioning if Caesar said anything coherent at all in the chaos. What stays consistent across accounts is that recognizing Brutus carried immense emotional weight, transforming his death into history's most enduring symbol of personal betrayal. Caesar collapsed and died at the base of a statue of his former rival Pompey, a detail ancient historians noted for its striking irony. Physicians who examined his body determined he suffered 23 stab wounds, though only one was fatal on its own, suggesting the attack was driven more by the conspirators' desire for symbolic collective participation than tactical necessity. The conspirators expected their act to be celebrated as restoring Roman liberty. Instead, they met public shock and outrage, since Caesar remained broadly popular among ordinary citizens. Rather than restoring the Republic, his assassination triggered devastating civil wars, as Caesar's adopted heir Octavian allied with his former general Mark Antony to hunt down the conspirators, before Octavian and Antony eventually turned against each other in a final war Octavian won, transforming himself into Augustus, Rome's first emperor, permanently ending the Republic the conspirators had killed Caesar to preserve. More than 2,000 years later, Caesar's assassination remains history's clearest example of political violence, producing the opposite of its intended outcome. Senators who believed killing one man could restore a system of government, only to accelerate the permanent rise of the very autocratic rule they killed to prevent. If stories like this, where history's greatest betrayals reshaped entire civilizations, are what you come here for, subscribe to The Grave Details, because history holds more stories like this than most people will ever know.